Bridge Channel 8, keeping you informed on events in your community.
Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I move to approve the order of the agenda.
Second. We vote, please.
Okay, and that motion passes unanimously.
I move to approve the minutes of the October 20th, 2011 meeting.
Second. Vote, please.
Whoops, I forgot to clear that with you. I didn't clear the board in time. Would you mind voting again?
Vote again,
Thank
please.
you. Okay, and that motion passes with Commissioners Dietrich and Beckman abstaining.
All right. Now we have the public forum. There's no one else here, so we will proceed to the public hearings. First case is case number MS-11-04, continued from October 20th.
Yes, as the memo from Meredith Record indicates in the package, they're recommending continuance of the case indefinitely. My understanding is the applicant has not moved forward, and when they do bring forward an application in the future, then we will look at noticing and moving that forward. But at this point, they're recommending continuance.
Okay.
I move to continue indefinitely case number MS-11-04.
Second.
Vote, please.
And that motion passes unanimously.
Great. Second case up today, case number WPA-11-02, a resolution adopting an addendum 3-mile plan to the City of Wheat Ridge Comprehensive Plan. Sally Payne for the city.
Yes, Sally Payne, planner in the Community Development Department. I feel like the podium has been moved so that... Anyway, sorry, this is just new.
Okay.
What you have before you is a 3-mile plan that we're requesting a Planning Commission adopt as an amendment to the city's comprehensive plan. Colorado state statutes require that municipalities adopt a 3-mile plan that identifies areas adjacent to their jurisdictional boundaries that could potentially be annexed. The purpose of the plan is to identify in a general way how those lands might be developed in terms of future land use, roads, streets, open space. And basically it's the urban growth area for the city of Wheat Ridge. If you're familiar with DRCOG and their Metro Vision plan, they have the urban growth boundary. And this would be the area for Wheat Ridge as part of that urban growth boundary. It's called the 3-mile plan because the statutes state that a community can look at an area up to 3 miles outside of their jurisdictional boundary as part of this plan. The last time the 3-mile plan was adopted was last November when it was brought to you. The plans need to address any recently annexed lands. And in 2011, the city annexed the TMAC site, the former Table Mountain Animal Center property. It has since been demolished. The statutes require that the plan be updated annually, so that's why we're here tonight, and that there be a public hearing held before Planning Commission for adoption of the plan. And just to go through some of the things in the plan here, I'll point out. On page 1, it basically describes the urban growth area in the city. Obviously, since the city is landlocked, the only area that we are looking at in that urban growth area is west of I-70, and the boundaries generally being I-70 to McIntyre, 44th to 32nd. And if you look at map 1 on page 3, this map basically shows the urban growth area within that blue dotted line, and then the dashed black line shows the current city boundary for that area that is the proposed Clear Creek Crossing development. The area in red is the newly annexed TMAC site. So those are the areas that we are looking at as part of the plan. Since that urban growth area is actually unincorporated Jefferson County, the planning and zoning matters obviously fall within the jurisdiction of Jefferson County. They have 2 sub-area plans that cover that area, the North Plains Plan and the Central Plains Plan. And both of those plans were adopted here in 2011, so they're really current. And the county sub-area plans recommend land uses in that urban growth area as existing residential in the established residential neighborhoods of Applewood out off west off of 32nd. The Applewood Golf Course and Clear Creek are shown as park, recreation, open space areas. And then the areas along 44th Avenue in the county plans are recommended as office, light industrial, and commercial. And if you go to map 2 on page 6, that basically shows the description I just gave of the county's proposed land uses for that area in the urban growth area. And so that is consistent with the county plans, and we have tried to kind of transition or make it as consistent as possible with the city comprehensive plan for those areas adjacent to the urban growth area. Any questions at this point, or ready?
Nope.
Move on. Okay. Moving on to the next section on page 7 is transportation. The major north-south connectors in that area are Youngfield and McIntyre on the west, and east-west are 44th and 32nd. I-70 and State Highway 58, serve as kind of regional access to the area. And with the current status of the Clear Creek Crossing development, this is maybe where there's been the biggest impacts. As you are aware, as part of the Clear Creek Crossing development, there were several or a few major public improvement projects that were on the books for that project, including a new interchange at Cabela Drive and State Highway 58, as well as hook ramps. And with the departure of Cabela's and that development currently being on hold, those particular projects are basically on hold until new development moves forward out at that site. The improvements that will be occurring in 2012 that were approved as part of that whole environmental impact statement work when that project was initially proposed are improvements to basically 32nd Avenue and Youngfield. And basically they'll be adding a through lane at the bridge there at I-70 in addition to widening sidewalks under the bridge and then further west along 32nd Avenue. So those improvements will be moving forward. And again, if you go to map 3, on the next page, on page 8, that essentially just shows the proposed improvements that we hope to see someday when this project moves forward. Again, the interchange at State Highway 58 and Cabela's, and the proposed hook ramps. And as I said, those are basically on hold until we move forward. Yes, Commissioner.
I'm not going to hold this plan up here, but I'd like some consideration to be renaming Cabela's Drive. I don't know what the process is to rename a street, but it sort of dates this plan by continuing to name this.
Right. Okay. I will make note of that. I know there's been discussion at the staff level about that as well, under the
Okay.
circumstances.
Okay, thank you.
We will certainly,
Like I said, I'm not going to hold it up, but it's just, thanks. It's a,
doesn't make sense at this point. And then on page 9, regarding future trails, it indicates a trail along 32nd Avenue from Braun Court, which is just west of I-70 to Youngfield. Those improvements will be made as part of the 2012 32nd Avenue widening project. And then a trail connection is proposed from 32nd to Clear Creek along Cabela Drive, and that, of course, will be put on hold until that, development moves forward. And again, if you look at page 14, map 4, that basically just shows the current and proposed trails in the area. As I mentioned, there's the proposed trail along Cabela Drive, which will be on hold. We do show a proposed trail along Youngfield, which is in our current bike ped master plan, but is not a high priority project at this point, but it is on the books. And then the other proposed trails are along 32nd West to McIntyre, and then McIntyre North to Clear Creek, and that, of course, is in the county's jurisdiction, and those plans are on the county's books for development at some point in the future. Yes.
item 5 on page 15. The word "this" doesn't make sense. I don't know which obstacle it refers to, if it's referring to this obstacle. I think it means it should be either rewritten or remove the obstacle liability or something.
Okay. Thank you for catching.
I had to read it over a couple times to try to find what the obstacle was.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
I will.
It's probably written for something else and then copy and paste it in or something at some time.
Right. The plan is, this plan has kind of been recycled and
I know.
moved forward,
I know.
as you're aware. So I've tried to catch the things that were not current, but thank you for catching that.
So Sally, is the intent on that item that the obstacle mentioned in that sentence is potential liability? So in other words, the liability would be an obstacle to the creation of trails across private land? Is that what we're talking about in that item?
Yeah, that would be my understanding is
Okay.
Liability releases would be used to, remove the obstacle or the liability of the creation of trails on public lands for use of, or in private lands for use of public. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, I just want to make sure the intent of the sentence is that we all understand, we're all on the same page as to what we think the intent of that sentence is. Okay.
Okay. Great. Okay, and then finally, going to page 10, which is the community amenities and services, there really have been no changes in this section. I forwarded this on to Joyce Manwaring, the Parks and Recreation Director, for any comments on her part about any changes in the status or policies. One thing I will note is that the Longs Peak Metropolitan District was formed to serve the Clear Creek Crossing development, and that district is still in place, but currently there are no agreements in place to fund any, future projects. And, it will be up to the future property owners, to determine if they want to continue with that Metro District concept, because that was really, that Longs Peak Metro District was really formed to serve the Clear Creek Crossing development. So with that, be happy to try to answer any other questions.
Any questions for Sally? No? All right. Well, thank you. Now is the time for anyone out there in the audience who wishes to make comments on this plan. If they'd like to come forward and speak on this, they may. It's been continued indefinitely. Okay. Okay. So with that, we'll open this up for discussion and motions. Dick?
I didn't see a proposed motion, but I move for approval of our recommend approval to adopt the 3-mile plan as an amendment to the City of Wheat Ridge Comprehensive Plan.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, I think we should just, I guess, add that condition about the technicality on page 15.
Page 15.
5.
Do we have any suggested changes in language that anyone wants to suggest on item 5, page 15? Sally, could we just add an amendment to the resolution directing staff to rewrite that item to just make the language more clear?
Yes.
Great. All right. Would someone like to offer that amendment then? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I'll accept that as a friendly amendment.
Okay. All right. Well, if there's no other discussion, I'll call for the vote, please. Great.
I move to adjourn.
Just a couple announcements, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
Tonight, as you may be aware, just George Pond's last Planning Commission meeting. Just wanted to thank him for his time on Planning Commission, his time and dedication. And finally, the next meeting will be December 1st. And at this point, we do have one item for a study session, a review of the architectural and site design manual.
Great. Yes, Ann.
Can I ask that something be added to your long list of stuff to review? I think I did this before, but I'm going to add it again. The signs that the rolling digital signs, I'd like some consideration of setting some guidelines on brightness and how often it changes, and just look at the other cities and see if they have any guidelines. I'd like to put something in place before 38th starts really developing, number one, before Clear Creek Crossing gets going, et cetera, so we have some guidelines so we don't have another really bright sign like we do on I-70.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
I know there has been discussion about that sign on I-70, and
There has, and I raised it before, but everybody said, yeah, we need some sort of guidelines, but I'd like to codify that if possible in some way. Okay.
pass that on.
Okay, thank you. And then do you know if my suggestion of asking in the packet when somebody comes in and pulls a permit, if they added instructions that the signs have to be taken down a certain time after the hearing is completed?
The public notice signs?
Yeah.
Yes, there was discussion of that and trying to pass that on.
Okay.
Applicants that those need to be removed.
So they were talking about adding it to the instructions, the actual instructions.
Okay,
Can you check?
yes, I will.
Thank
do
you. I'm done.
I think we had a motion, but not a second to adjourn. Do we have a second on that motion? Okay. Call for a vote, please.
It's unanimous.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Wheat Ridge Channel 8, keeping you informed on events in your community.